The subterranean chamber stretched before them like a cavernous cathedral of stone and shadow. Stalactites hung like ancient chandeliers from the vaulted ceiling, dripping rhythmically into shallow pools that mirrored the dim glow of bioluminescent fungi clinging to the walls. The air was thick with dampness, and the faint scent of earth and minerals mingled with something sharper and almost electric tang that set every nerve on edge. Dra! Evelyn Hart moved ahead with deliberate steps, her sharp eyes scanning the intricate glyphs that adorned the walls. These symbols pulsed faintly with an otherworldly light, arranged in patterns that hinted at both artistry and function. These markings, she murmured, they were not merely decorative. They form a complex system, perhaps a warning or a mechanism. Jonas Vega followed close behind, muscles taut and senses alert. His rugged frame was poised for action, ready to spring from shadow to shadow. Suddenly, his foot caught on a barely perceptible pressure plate embedded in the stone floor. A sharp click echoed through the chamber. Jonas froze, eyes wide, heart hammering. From the ceiling, slender metal spikes shot down with terrifying speed, stopping mere inches from his face as they retracted with a hiss. "Careful," he barked, stepping back with a dry laugh that belied his shaken nerves. "This place is more than just old walls and water." Drar. Anika Rao adjusted her glasses, stepping forward to examine a nearby wall panel. Her fingers traced the worn glyphs, lips moving silently as she deciphered the ancient language. "These traps," she said quietly, "were designed not merely to kill, but to protect." This civilization valued the river and the knowledge it carried deeply. They saw outsiders as threats to their sacred trust. Marco Silva, standing a few paces behind, frowned. "So, we're trespassing on a guarded legacy. How do we proceed without becoming victims?" Lena Torres raised her camera, capturing the eerie glow of the glyphs and the tense expressions of the team. "Every step here tells a story," she said softly. "We have to listen carefully." Nina Patel knelt by the pressure plate that had nearly been Jonas's undoing. Pulling out a compact toolkit, she examined the mechanism with a practiced eye. "This is an ancient but sophisticated trap," she explained. "If we can disable or bypass these triggers, we can move safely. But it requires precision." The team huddled briefly, each member sharing insights from their expertise. Evelyn's scientific understanding of geology and hydrology helped interpret the physical structure of the chamber. Anika's linguistic skills revealed the cultural context of the traps, while Jonas's experience navigating dangerous environments kept everyone alert to immediate threats. Nina's engineering skills were crucial in devising ways to neutralize the mechanisms without damaging the site. As they moved cautiously forward, the chamber seemed to watch them. Mechanical clicks and faint whirs echoed, shadows shifted, and the river's distant murmur underscored the living breath of the ancient site. Several times, the team narrowly avoided falling into hidden pits or triggering dart traps, each close call reinforcing the deadly intelligence embedded within the ruins. One moment stood out starkly. Jonas, scanning ahead, spotted a delicate wire almost invisible against the stone. He whispered a warning just in time, allowing Evelyn to halt the group. Together with Nina, they disarmed the trap, the tension in the air easing slightly but never dissipating entirely. "This civilization understood flow," Evelyn said, her voice hushed with admiration. "Not just of water, but of life and knowledge. Their traps are a testament to their desire to protect that flow." Anika nodded, eyes reflecting the glyph's glow. "We must honor that. Our presence here is a privilege, one that demands respect and caution." Marco, usually pragmatic and skeptical, allowed a rare moment of reverence. "Our ambitions carry weight. We must balance discovery with preservation." The chamber's far wall bore a massive door, its surface etched with a sprawling mural depicting the river's journey and the civilization's guardianship. At its center was a complex locking mechanism, combining rotating stones and pressure sensors. Disarming it required every ounce of the team's combined knowledge and skill. Hours passed in painstaking work. Nina's nimble fingers manipulated the mechanical components, while Evelyn and Anika provided guidance from their research. Jonas stood watch, muscles coiled, ready to act at the slightest threat. The others supported with steady hands and keen eyes, the tension building as the final pieces fell into place. With a resonant click, the door slowly grinded open, revealing a chamber bathed in a soft, golden light. The explorers stepped inside with reverent silence, aware that they were crossing a threshold not just into another room, but deeper into the mysteries of the black current. Yet, even as relief washed over them, there was no room for complacency. The ancient guardians, silent and deadly, reminded them that the river's secrets came at a price. Each discovery was earned through respect, caution, and unity. As they pressed forward, the team felt the river's relentless current, not only beneath their feet, but within their very souls, urging them onward into the unknown. "Stay sharp," Evelyn whispered, eyes scanning the dim passage ahead. "The black current never yields its secrets easily." And with that, they stepped into the shadows, ready to face whatever ancient challenge awaited them next. The cavern was alive with a subtle glow, the bioluminescent fungi clinging to jagged walls, casting a gentle, ethereal light that danced across the faces of the gathered explorers. For the first time in days, the oppressive tension that had thickened the air seemed to lift, replaced by a fragile but genuine warmth. Around the flickering campfire, voices tentative at first grew steadily more animated. Dra. Evelyn Hart sat cross-legged, her sharp eyes softened by the flickering flames as she listened to Jonas Vega recount a humorous mishap from his military days. Jonas, usually brash and guarded, allowed himself a rare grin, the corners of his weathered features crinkling with amusement. Anika Rao, perched nearby with her ever-present notebook balanced on her knees, laughed softly, the sound delicate yet genuine, bridging the gap between her usual cautious demeanor and the growing camaraderie. "You really had us all worried back then," Lena Torres said, her camera momentarily forgotten as she soaked in the rare moment of levity. Her role as the expedition's documentarian had often made her an observer more than a participant, but here, her eyes shone with a kind of hopeful connection. Marco Silva, ever the pragmatic financier, allowed himself a small smile, the usual furrow in his brow easing. The expedition's risks had been a point of contention, but this moment of shared humanity reminded him why he had invested in such an uncertain venture. Captain Elias Grant leaned against a rock, his weather-beaten face relaxed in the soft light, while Felix Harrow checked over supplies nearby, his calm presence a steadying force. Nina Patel, crouched beside a small toolkit, smiled quietly, thankful for the brief respite from technical challenges. This was more than a campfire gathering. It was a turning point, a quiet forging of bonds that the black current itself seemed to acknowledge with a gentle murmur from the nearby waters. Later, as the team prepared to navigate a particularly perilous stretch of the river, the synergy born of that evening's connection became evident. Jonas and Evelyn approached the swirling underground rapid, a narrow corridor where the river's flow intensified dangerously between jagged rock walls. The passage was unforgiving, demanding precise timing and unwavering trust. "On my count," Evelyn instructed, her voice steady but tinged with the gravity of the moment. Jonas nodded, his usual impulsiveness tempered by the respect he now held for her leadership and judgment. Together, they plunged into the frothing current, bodies moving with practiced coordination. Evelyn's analytical mind calculated the safest path, while Jonas's reflexes and experience ensured swift, decisive action. The rapid was a wild beast, but their combined efforts tamed it, turning a deadly challenge into a testament of their growing unity. Back on the river bank, the rest of the team watched in hushed admiration. Anika's eyes shone with renewed confidence, having just deciphered a complex mural etched in the cavern wall nearby. The ancient figures and symbols told a story of a civilization attuned to the river's moods, a narrative that resonated deeply with the explorer's own journey. "This changes everything," Anika said softly, tracing a delicate finger along the inscriptions. They understood the river as more than water. It was life, danger, and destiny intertwined. The team gathered around her, absorbing the revelation. The shared awe knit them closer, dissolving lingering doubts and disagreements. Night fell again, and Lena captured candid photographs of the team's smiles unguarded, hands reaching out in support, eyes meeting in newfound understanding. Each image was a silent chronicle of healing, a visual testament to bonds forged not just in survival but in shared purpose and respect. The black current roared softly in the distance, an indifferent force that had tested their limits and now, paradoxically, nurtured their unity. In the flow of the river, the explorers saw reflected their own journey, sometimes turbulent, sometimes calm, but always moving forward together. As they settled into rest, the promise of the river's mysteries ahead mingled with the promise of a stronger, more resilient team. The challenges to come would be formidable, but the explorers were no longer solitary figures pushed along by the current. They were a cohesive current themselves, ready to face the abyss with intertwined strength. And somewhere deep within the shadows of the subterranean labyrinth, the black current pulsed on, silent, relentless, eternal, waiting to test the bonds forged in its endless flow. The river's song was growing louder, and with it, the explorers' resolve. Their journey was far from over. Dim light filtered through the narrow crevice that served as the expedition's entrance to the cavern. Swallowed almost entirely by the oppressive shadows of the underground world. Annika Rao crouched before the ancient wall, her breath visible in the cool, damp air as she traced delicate fingers over the faded symbols etched deep into the stone. The inscriptions, worn by centuries yet remarkably preserved beneath layers of mineral deposits, whispered stories long forgotten, a silent language begging to be understood. Around her, the faint sound of water echoed, the black current's relentless flow murmuring through hidden channels, a constant reminder of the river's ceaseless presence. Anika's eyes, magnified slightly by the thin lenses of her glasses, flicked rapidly between the symbols and her field notes. A subtle smile played on her lips as familiar patterns emerged, symbols that bore resemblance to the ancient scripts she had studied in her academic years, yet infused with unique elements, hinting at a culture intimately tied to the subterranean river. She spoke softly, almost reverently. This is more than just language. It's a record of their existence, their relationship with the river. Dra. Evelyn Hart moved closer, her sharp eyes narrowing as she studied the wall. "What does it say?" she asked, voice low but urgent. Anika turned, her expression alight with a mixture of excitement and solemnity. "It tells of a people who revered the black current as a life-giving force, but also a harbinger of destruction. The inscriptions speak of a great shift, a sudden change in the river's course that drowned their cities and forced survivors into the shadows." Jonas Vega stood guard near the cavern's entrance, his rugged frame silhouetted against the faint glow of their lamps. His gaze flicked between the dripping stalactites and the inscriptions, his mind grappling with the implications. So the river itself was their undoing. Annika nodded slowly. Yes, it's as if the river's flow holds memory, recording the rise and fall of civilizations with its shifting path. This isn't just geology. It's history etched in water and stone. Evelyn's thoughts raced. The discovery was monumental, bridging myth and science in a way that defied previous understanding. "This changes everything," she said, her voice steady but charged. "If the river's shifts destroyed entire cultures before, it could still do so. We need to understand its patterns, predict its movements." The team gathered around a collection of artifacts, ancient pottery shards, carved tablets, and fragments of frescoes, each piece a fragment of the civilization's story. The flickering light from their headlamps cast elongated shadows that danced across the cavern walls, lending an almost spectral quality to the scene. Anika carefully lifted a tablet, brushing away centuries of dust. "These markings correspond with the inscriptions," she explained. "They reference rituals intended to appease the river, to calm its fury." Jonas allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. If they believed the river was both giver and taker, maybe there's something we're missing, some natural cycle or warning we haven't yet grasped. Suddenly, a low rumble vibrated through the cavern floor, faint at first but growing steadily. Loose stones cascaded from a distant wall, striking the ground with sharp clatters that echoed through the hollow space. The explorers instinctively tightened their formation, eyes darting to the dark recesses around them. Evelyn's voice cut through the tension. The river's power is alive here, unpredictable. We can't underestimate it. The trimmer served as a stark reminder of the perilous environment they navigated. But beneath the fear lay an invigorating sense of purpose. The river's memory, etched in stone and water, offered not only a glimpse into a lost world, but a warning that pressed them onward. As Anika resumed her careful study of the inscriptions, Evelyn and Jonas exchanged glances, each silently acknowledging the unspoken truth. Their journey was no longer just an expedition. It had become a vital quest to unravel the mysteries of the Black Current, before the ancient cycle repeated itself against them. The cavern seemed to pulse with the river's rhythm, alive with whispers of the past and the promise of revelation. The explorers, bound by shared discovery and growing respect for the river's inscrutable force, prepared to delve deeper into the labyrinth, propelled by awe, fear, and an unyielding resolve. Outside the cavern, the distant sound of rushing water grew louder, a constant, relentless flow that carried with it the secrets of millennia. The Black Current moved on, indifferent to the lives entwined with its course, a timeless force shaping worlds both seen and hidden below. Within the heart of the subterranean darkness, the explorers faced their most profound challenge yet: to listen to the river's memory, interpret its message, and survive the unfolding trial it set before them. The line between myth and science blurred, and with it, the fate of those who dared to follow the Black Current into the unknown. But as Anika's fingers traced the final lines of the inscription, a chilling realization settled among them, all a warning, not just of past destruction, but of dangers yet to come. The river's flow was eternal, but so too was its peril. The edge of the abyss yawned before them like a dark maw, swallowing every scrap of light and sound. Drr. Evelyn Hart's breath caught as she peered into the shadowed depths. The distant roar of the Black Current cascading unseen below, echoing off the cavern walls with a power that vibrated through the soles of her boots. The river, which had teased them with glimpses and whispers through winding tunnels and crystalline passageways, now plunged into a chasm so vast and profound it seemed to swallow the very earth. Jonas Vegas stood beside her, his rugged face set in a grim line. The flickering beams of their headlamps struggled against the suffocating blackness, illuminating only the immediate rocky ledge beneath their feet. "This is it," he murmured, voice low but steady. "The heart of the abyss." Anika Rao adjusted her glasses, eyes scanning the cavern walls where faint traces of ancient carvings emerged in the lamplight, cryptic symbols and faded figures that spoke of a people who had once braved this darkness long before. The air was thick with dampness and a faint metallic tang, as if the earth herself exhaled the secrets of millennia. The team moved cautiously forward, each step measured against the treacherous footing. The narrow ledges were slick with moisture, and the river's roar shifted in pitch and volume as it plunged deeper below. Lena Torres raised her camera, capturing the interplay of shadow and light, the tension etched on every face. Marco Silva followed closely, his tablet momentarily forgotten as the raw power of the abyss rendered spreadsheets and budgets insignificant. "Stay close," Evelyn commanded, voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Nina, check the ropes. Felix, keep watch for signs of instability." The descent was grueling. Jonas led his experience as a cave diver and survivalist, guiding the team through narrow crevices and slippery stone steps carved by centuries of water flow. Every sense heightened, the explorers felt the weight of the abyss pressing in, not just physically but mentally. The darkness was oppressive, a tangible force that gnawed at their resolve. Anika paused to study a series of carvings etched into a bulging wall. Her fingers traced the worn symbols, translating their meaning silently. "These tell of a great flood," she whispered, "and warnings to those who would challenge the river's depths." Evelyn nodded, absorbing the gravity of the message. "It's a reminder. We were not the first to come here, and we may not be the last." As they pressed onward, a low rumble vibrated through the cavern. Dust fell from overhead ledges, and a sudden tremor shook the stone beneath their feet. Rocks dislodged, crashing down the chasm with thunderous impact. Shouts echoed as the team scrambled for safer ground, hearts pounding in unison. "Hold the line!" Evelyn shouted, steadying herself against the wall. "Check in!" One by one, the explorers confirmed their positions, breaths ragged but steady. The tremor subsided, leaving silence heavier than before. The near disaster served as a stark reminder of the abyss's merciless nature. Jonas wiped sweat from his brow, a rare flicker of vulnerability crossing his usually stoic face. "We have to keep moving, the river's waiting, and so is the truth." Despite exhaustion and fear, the team's determination coalesced into a shared resolve. The abyss was not just a physical barrier, but a crucible revealing their deepest strengths and weaknesses. Trust formed in whispered reassurances and steady hands, binding them together against the darkness. Night stretched on inside the Earth's heart, timeless and indifferent. Yet within that eternal shadow, the explorers carried a flicker of hope, a light fueled by wonder, courage, and the relentless flow of the black current itself. As they advanced deeper into the abyss, every step was a testament to human resilience and the unyielding quest for discovery. "We were close," Evelyn said finally, voice barely audible over the distant roar. "Close to where the river resurfaces, and to answers we sought since the beginning." But the abyss held its secrets tightly, and the final trials awaited, ready to test the explorers beyond anything they had faced so far. Their journey into the unknown had reached its darkest hour, and the path forward demanded everything they had and more. The black current surged onward, relentless and eternal, carrying them toward a destiny forged in the depths of the Earth's hidden veins. And as the explorers braced themselves for what lay ahead, the abyss whispered its ancient challenge. Only those who could flow with its current would survive to see the light again. The descent was far from over, and the true peril was yet to come. The cavern opened before them like a maw in the earth, vast and unyielding. The black current thundered through the darkness, cascading down an immense underground waterfall that seemed to devour all light and sound beyond its furious roar. "Draw!" Evelyn Hart stepped forward, her sharp eyes scanning the scene, a chaotic dance of water, rock, and shadow that marked the final natural obstacle before the river's mysterious resurgence. "This is it," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the crashing torrent. "The last barrier." Behind her, the rest of the team gathered, faces drawn tight with a mixture of exhaustion and resolve. Jonas Vega, standing at the edge, flexed his fingers, the scars and colors on them telling stories of countless dives and scrambles through unforgiving terrain. His gaze was steady despite the obvious danger. Beside him, Anika Rao adjusted her glasses, her usually cautious demeanor replaced by a quiet determination. Marco Silva checked his tablet one last time, though here, technology seemed powerless against the raw forces of nature. Lena Torres had her camera poised, capturing the overwhelming scale and emotion of the moment, the interplay of human fragility and indomitable spirit amidst the cavern's brutal beauty. Captain Elias Grant and Felix Harrow exchanged brief nods, each silently acknowledging the risks ahead. "We'll need to be methodical," Evelyn said, pulling out maps and notes illuminated by the beam of her headlamp. "The rock formations here are unstable. The water's force could shift them at any moment." Naina Patel, already kneeling to inspect their climbing gear, spoke up. "Ropes and anchors will have to be perfect. One slip and we re in the torrent." Jonah stepped forward, his voice low but firm. "I'll go first. Test the footing, find the safest path." Evelyn nodded, feeling the weight of leadership more keenly than ever. take your time. The rest of us will set up backup lines." The team dispersed, each member moving with practiced efficiency despite the oppressive atmosphere. The roar of the waterfall was a constant reminder of the stakes, an unrelenting force that challenged their every step. Jonas's boots splashed against slippery stones, water spraying in fine mist that caught the beams of light in glittering arcs. "Careful," Evelyn called, watching his approach with bated breath. Jonas tested each foothold, shifting his weight with acute precision. His face was a mask of concentration, muscles taut beneath his weathered clothing. Moments stretched into minutes as he inched forward, the cavern's chill air filled with the scent of damp stone and rushing water. Suddenly, a small rock shifted beneath his foot, sending a spray of water into the air and eliciting a gasp from the onlookers. Quick reflexes saved him from a fall, but the tremors rippled through the ledge. "It's unstable," he shouted back, voice strained. "We have to anchor everything securely." Back on solid ground, Evelyn took charge, directing the team to set up an intricate system of ropes and carabiners. Nina's technical expertise ensured the gear was fortified against both the waterfall's mist and the treacherous footing. Felix stood ready with medical supplies, his calm presence a balm to the rising tension. Lena moved amongst them, her camera catching the interplay of light and shadow, the grit and determination etched on every face. "This is it," she whispered to herself, "the moment where everything could change." Hours passed in a blur of meticulous preparation and slow progress. The team climbed, belayed, and secured each other with a rhythm born of deep trust and necessity. As the roar of the waterfall loomed ever closer, the physical exertion took its toll. Muscles burned, breaths came in ragged gasps, and the mind wavered between hope and fear. At one point, Jonas slipped again, this time saved only by an anchor and the quick grip of Evelyn's hand. For a fleeting second, time seemed to freeze, the cavern holding its breath with them. Then, the climb resumed, steadier now, each member buoyed by shared resolve. Near the top, the river's fury began to mellow. The deafening roar softened to a steady rush, and a faint glow shimmered on the horizon, the promise of the surface, the unknown world beyond. On a narrow ledge, the team paused, bodies slick with sweat and dampness, faces illuminated by the pale light filtering through fissures above. Evelyn looked at each of them, pride and exhaustion mingling in her gaze. "We're almost there," she said softly. "The river's path isn't just a physical journey, it's a test of everything we are." Jonas cracked a tired smile, the first in hours. "And we were still standing." Anika stepped forward, her voice steady despite the weariness. "Whatever awaits us beyond this ledge, we face it together." The team exchanged nods, a silent pact forged in the crucible of peril and perseverance. Lena captured the moment, not just the scene, but the spirit that had carried them through darkness and doubt. As they prepared to move onward, a subtle tremor rippled through the cavern. The black current flowed relentlessly beneath their feet, a reminder that the journey was far from over. But for now, standing on the cusp of emergence, hope surged, fragile, fierce, eternal. "Ready?" Evelyn asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Ready," came the unified response. With one last breath, they stepped forward into the light, into the unknown, carried by the eternal flow of the black current. The final barrier had been overcome, but the river's mysteries still beckoned. What secrets lay beyond the surface? What new challenges awaited the explorers who dared to follow the relentless flow? As the cavern faded behind them, the answer remained suspended in the shimmering mist, a question as deep and enduring as the black current itself.